Welcome to the Lincoln Financial Group presentation. Please join us in welcoming Alicia Campbell, Diversity Recruiting Lead, and Kayla McLaughlin, Diversity Recruiting Consultant from Lincoln Financial Group.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here and speak with you all about Lincoln Financial Group and all of our career opportunities. My name is Kayla McLaughlin. As mentioned previously, I serve as a diversity recruiting consultant. My colleague, Alicia Campbell, could not be here with us today, but I will be able to give you some cool fun facts about her on the next slide. So a quick introduction of myself. I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. I started at Lincoln in June of 2022, so still fairly new. And I went to North Carolina A&T. I'm a two-time Aggie. I got my bachelor's from there in journalism, my master's in English. And when asked why I chose Lincoln, I always like to mention the company culture and the commitment to DEI, which is literally my branch. I'm a DEI recruiter, and Lincoln is very genuine in their commitment to DEI, which I absolutely love. Here is my colleague, Alicia, who is based in Philadelphia. She's been at Lincoln for quite some time, since June 2014. She went to Clark Atlanta and enjoys the company culture as well as the ability to connect with people, to connect people with great opportunities. All right, so let's jump right into it. So in terms of the topics that we're going to discuss today, who is Lincoln Financial Group? Where do you fit in? Opportunities at Lincoln, and then of course we will do a Q&A. This QR code on the screen, you can scan in order to join our talent community. I can also share that link with UNCF afterwards in case you all miss it, but I imagine quite a few of you are already a part of our talent community, but I'd absolutely love for you to join. So scan the QR code with your smartphone, or I will pass this link along to UNCF. All right, so we have a quick video for you all, but I'll quickly read this part. Lincoln Financial provides advice and solutions that empower people to take charge of their financial lives with the confidence and optimism. We do what's best for our employees and in the best interest of our customers. So we're a very people-focused company, and we want to make sure that everyone's finances are in the absolute best that they can be, which includes retirement, income, annuities, life insurance, etc. So now we'll go into a quick video.
Wouldn't it be great to do meaningful work with a company that makes a real difference in the lives of millions of Americans? And one that appreciates and values you for all of the special things that you are? A company that embraces your talent, your experience, and the wonderful diversity that makes you, you. At Lincoln Financial Group, we celebrate all 12,000 of the individuals who come together every day to help provide secure financial futures to the people we serve. We thrive in an inclusive culture that encourages every member of Team Lincoln to bring their best, authentic self to work every day, whether that's in the office or at your home. We're proud to offer both fully remote and flexible job opportunities, so you can find the role that works best for your life. We're also an organization that does the right thing. We're known as a financial industry leader, and we're dedicated to philanthropy, volunteerism, and making our communities and our planet better every day. Our employees love us for our competitive pay and benefits, but what they love most of all is the chance to build a rewarding career with room to learn and grow. At Lincoln, you'll have opportunities to develop your skills and talents because we want you to reach your highest potential. When you succeed, we succeed. Check out the available opportunities today to find the career you'll love at Lincoln.
All right, awesome. So I'll go ahead and jump to the next slide and discuss our offerings. So most people know life insurance, right? When you think about Lincoln Financial, everyone knows life insurance. So life insurance consists of protecting them and their loved ones from financial hardship. You are probably already familiar with that one. One that you might not be familiar with is income and annuities, which essentially is helping individuals to build tax advantage sources of lasting retirement income. So it's kind of supplemental. In terms of retirement plan services, It empowers individuals to get to and through retirement, right? Like we know we're all going to get old. We know we don't want to work forever. Lastly would be group protection. So partnering at work to prepare them for the unexpected. If you've ever signed up for any type of work benefits, or maybe your parents or your guardians have, you may have heard of them just mention something like short-term disability, or something along the lines of like if you're injured on your job and you need to sign up for some kind of supplemental insurance, then that covers group protection in regards to, if you need to take off work for an extended period of time because like you were hurt on the job or something like that. So that's what we consider to be the unexpected. In terms of just a couple of key facts, we're a Fortune 200 company. We have approximately 12,000 employees, 311 billion in revenue, and we have been in business for over 100 years. All right, so today we have more than 12,000 employees nationwide. Our corporate headquarters is located in Radnor, which is like right outside of the city limits of Philadelphia. We have offices across the United States. Our major offices would be Dover, New Hampshire, Hartford, Connecticut, Philadelphia, Greensboro and Charlotte, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Omaha, Nebraska, Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I'm located, and lastly, Phoenix, Arizona. We also have a number of field offices across the United States, and those are all highlighted in the orange boxes. All right, so now that we've covered who Lincoln is, from the business side, I want to show you also who we are in the community, which includes externally and internally at Lincoln, and what we care about. So here is a testimonial from someone named Andrea. She works in group protection. She said, it's very clear that Lincoln puts the health, safety, and well-being of their employees first. They have also supported flexible work arrangements, which has made it easy to take care of myself and my loved ones during the pandemic. So I can attest to this 100%. I've only been at Lincoln since June, but I can honestly say that I have the best work-life balance. My work arrangements are super flexible. I'm currently in the process of buying a house, which has been really chaotic. So if there's something that I need to do for that, I'm always able to do that and, flex my time and flex my hours. So amazing, amazing work-life balance at Lincoln. All right, so we strive to make our community stronger by making our giving count. So as a company and as individuals, we make meaningful contributions every single day, and that helps people take charge of their futures and improve their lives. So as we instill optimism and strength in our communities, the Lincoln Financial Foundation, you'll see that we award grants to more than 250 nonprofits each year. Those are focused on like financial wellness, human services, education programs. We also even provide natural disaster relief. So for, example, like there's a hurricane going on right now, things of that nature. And we also do gift matching, which is really, really cool. So with the gift matching as a Lincoln employee, if you are very passionate about an organization and you want to give dollars to that organization, Lincoln will actually match the dollars that you donate to them. So I think that is super cool. We've also pledged $2 million in support of food housing, and financial wellness programs. And that was to help aid communities during COVID-19, which we know was a really crazy time, right? So Lincoln also encourages employees to participate in community volunteer and giving events. In 2019, our employees gave over $1 million to United Way during our annual employee giving campaign for the 7th year in a row. One thing I also want to mention is that they grant up to 8 hours of PTO if you participate in a Lincoln-sponsored volunteer activity with your manager's approval, which is really cool. So you can take the day off and not have to work and be able to give back to the community, do some community service, and then you actually get those 8 hours back in PTO time. So I think that's really cool. That's something I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of very soon. As far as diversity, again, this is my background. This is what my job is all about. D&I is a business imperative and leadership expectation for literally all of our employees. Our commitment to diversity traces back to the beginning of our company. So one example of that would be in the 1920s. The first women in the United States to pass the actuarial exam, the first woman, excuse me, was Helen Williams. She actually came to work at Lincoln Financial as a supervisor. So that's something that we're really proud of. Our DEI strategies focus on the workplace, marketplace, and community. It's about attracting top talent, driving engagement and innovation, growing our business through new relationships, being seen in our communities as the best place to work and a provider of choice. So our commitment to diversity and inclusion starts with the most senior levels of leadership and continues with the engagement of employees at all levels. So I can honestly say that I worked at another firm that was finance accounting focused, and there was nowhere near as much diversity as there is at Lincoln Financial. So, as I mentioned in my first introduction slide, that's something that really drew me to Lincoln. And I can honestly say that, honestly, within my first couple of weeks, like I was doing introductory meetings with people. I was meeting with, HR, I was meeting with leadership, and there were people that looked like me, right? And that's important to me. I think that you get to really have a sense of community. Representation is important. We know that, right? I graduated from an HBCU. So working in a company where I have a Black female boss, right, and she's great, is really, really valuable. And it's something that I really, really enjoy at Lincoln. So if you'd like to learn more about our strategy, you can visit our diversity and inclusion page on the LFG website, or you could scan the QR code, which is right here. All right, so I love to talk about our BRGs. So our BRGs, we have 7 of them, and it's essentially like, so when you're in college or when you're in high school, you have these clubs, right? And that's kind of like your clique. That's like your community. That's how you build relationships, within your school. So I'd like to tell students that our BRGs are kind of like our clubs at Lincoln Financial. So we have an African American BRG, Asian American, Latino, LGBTQ plus, people with disabilities, veterans, and women. Our BRGs focus on delivering events and programs to support members of their respective communities. As I mentioned, BRGs are employee-led, like 100% employee-led. So they represent a cross-section of business functions. So there's people that, from HR, there's people from group protection, there's people from sales and finance, actuarial, IT, right? So you get people from all over the business, and they help to embed diversity and inclusion in the company's culture from the ground up. So we like to say that, they keep us honest, they keep us genuine, which is really cool because their opinions really matter. MAC members focus their efforts on proclamation months, and on occasion develop programming related to other observances important to them. So for example, Hispanic Heritage Month was in September. So our Latino BRG did a really cool program for Hispanic Heritage Month. So, that's something to think about. I started in June, which was Pride Month. And when I started, the LGBTQ plus BRG did a phenomenal virtual event for Pride Month. So, kind of based on the calendar and what's going on that year, they may sort of plan their events around that. But the events are always informative. They're about diverse cultures, backgrounds, viewpoints, lifestyles. We always have really good dialogue and Q&A. People can ask questions and people can learn, share their experiences. So the BRG events that I have attended, I've really been able to enjoy. All right, so here's another testimonial from Jeremiah. Jeremiah also works in group protection. He says that I have had lots of opportunities for growth and was promoted within a year of service. So as we mentioned, there are many opportunities for you across Lincoln, and I'm going to talk to you about a few more that may interest you. I'll kind of go through our business areas, but I'll give a brief testimonial of my own regarding Jeremiah's statement. So I started in June. And as I mentioned, I met with a lot of different people that, were in various business lines. And I can honestly say, like, everybody I spoke with, I'd say like 90% of the people that I spoke with had been at Lincoln for years. I'm talking like, I'd say 6 to 7 years plus, some people 14 years, 15, 16 years. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, I've been in this particular job, for 16 years. Everyone had been in like 2 or 3 different jobs in Lincoln. And I just thought, like, that's so cool. Cause, most people, myself, for example, like if I change jobs, I'm changing companies. Like I've never really been anywhere where I had a lot of room for growth. Sometimes I felt like a bit stifled, or I didn't feel like, I had the ability to move around a lot. But Lincoln, like, is really true to that. Like everybody that I've met with, almost everybody has been in like a bunch of different positions. Even myself in my current role, have already been having conversations with my supervisor, about my career growth and, what it is that I want to do and, what my goals are. And you know, if I want her job one day, so like, and I did that very early on for her to really be able to find out, what it is that I'm interested in so that she can prepare me for that. So I just thought that that was super cool. It's not something I had ever experienced specifically so early on in a job. So, just in addition to the testimonials that I'm showing you, I always love to share my own because it's genuine. All right. So for business areas, and I haven't heard anything about questions. So are we okay? No questions as of yet?
It's a go, Kayla.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so for our business areas, Lincoln has a variety of opportunities across the enterprise that ranges from finance to customer service to IT. Our goal is always to find an opportunity where you are passionate about growing your career. And from there, you'll have the ability for development. You'll have the ability for opportunities, goal setting, right? Which again is something that I've been doing. And that allows you to be challenged, right? To continue to learn and to ultimately find the success that you're seeking in your career. So we have actuarial, finance, operations, risk management, human resources, which is my business area, marketing and communications, customer service, legal and compliance, information technology or digital, which that one encompasses a lot. So those are like our CS majors, software engineering. And then lastly, sales and relationship management. So we pretty much have internships in all of these business areas, which is really cool. A lot of people think like Lincoln Financial, like, oh, that's just insurance or it's just finance, but there's a lot more to it. Like I met some legal interns over the summer when I started who, had went to law school and they were interning for legal and compliance. And I was like, wow, I had no idea. Cause they looked so much older than everyone else. So I was like, oh, are you a full-time employee? Nice to meet you. And they were like, oh no, like we're interns. So our intern population is extremely diverse. All right. So for early talent career opportunities for summer 2023, the program, the requirements, the achievement, and the growth, right? So this is how it goes. As far as the internship program, it's an exciting opportunity. It's 9 weeks. Sorry about that. It's 9 weeks. It's going to be full time, so 40 hours a week. And then opportunities across the United States. I mentioned all those key city locations earlier, so that's where they will be located. I'm constantly being asked, is it remote? Is it remote? Is it in person? Is it in person, right? I'll say that it's going to vary by business area, which I went over those in the previous slide. Majority of them are going to be hybrid. On the IT side, a lot of those will be remote, but most of the internships are going to be hybrid with the majority of your time being remote. And if there's an event or a meeting or something like that that's in person in the office, then they'll usually pay for you to get to that meeting. But for the most part, majority of them will be remote. But we're saying hybrid for most of them at the moment because there will be some instances where they may want you to come into the office, but it's going to vary between business area. Each business area is going to want something different out of their interns or their LPPs. We do offer competitive compensation, and it is climbing. I just had a conversation with my supervisor about comp yesterday, and she gave me a comp number for, I think it was for IT, and she was like, that's probably going to be going up. So it's constantly climbing. We're constantly trying to stay competitive. In terms of the requirements, you need to be a college sophomore, a junior, or a senior. If you're a senior, obviously, you wouldn't be eligible for an internship unless you're graduating in December of 2023. We need to have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA, obviously, demonstrated leadership potential. We love leaders, so we love to see that on your resume. Love to talk to you about it in your interviews. Self-motivated, results-oriented, have really great communication skills, which, obviously will come across in your interviews, and effective networking skills, demonstrated critical thinking and problem-solving skills. So I think some students get nervous because, like you think like, oh my goodness, they want me to just come in with like all this experience. What we really care about is the skills, right? Like we can teach you how to do what it is that you need to do in the internship, but what we care about is these bullet points in terms of like critical thinking, problem solving. So if you haven't had an internship before, if you can give us examples of times when you have, used your critical thinking skills, when you have a networked effectively, or you communicate effectively, like those are things that we really care about. So we're not looking for you to necessarily come with like a ton of experience. So in achievement, you'll be able to add value to the organization through meaningful work, participate in a variety of developmental experiences. You'll be able to gain exposure to senior executives and build a valuable network of peers, managers, and leaders across the company. I want to pause right here because I got to meet with, I'd say, about 50% of our minority interns over the summer. Keep in mind, I started in June, so the interns actually started before I did. But almost every single intern that I spoke to told me or gave me an example about a time when they met with senior executives and they were like so nervous, and they just didn't even think that they'd be able to meet with those types of people during their internship, and how they had really great conversations and how down to earth the senior executives were. And I just thought that that was something like really cool because they were just like super excited about it. So I love to brag about our accessibility to leadership here at Lincoln. One of the interns told me that their boss has a saying that Lincoln Financial doesn't hire jerks, right? Because like everybody's so nice. And of course, like when you first start, you're kind of like eyebrow raised, like, are y'all really this nice, But I mean, literally, I've been here since June. The intern said the same thing. And the interns who got return offers for LPPs, I still meet with them. And they're like, people are really nice here, like for real. Like it hasn't changed. I've been here for months, or I've been here for, 6 months or coming up on a year. And we don't hire jerks. Like our senior executives are really down to earth people. So you would think that they wouldn't be accessible, or that it'd be really complicated to have a conversation or get a meeting with them, but it's really not like that at all. I actually have a meeting this Friday with like my boss's boss's boss, which is like super cool. So next, you will be able to acquire knowledge of key businesses through enterprise-wide exposure, and then you'll be able to receive ongoing coaching and mentoring. As far as the growth, your leadership will support and want to see your success. I mentioned that earlier, right, with my personal testimonial as well as the other testimonial. It's a very inclusive environment. We promote building around the people at LFG. And then the benefits and transferable skills. Great benefits, by the way. All right, so I'm about to wrap up. In terms of the timeline and next steps, the applications, you can apply for the 2023 internship or LPP program. We don't have the positions posted right now. Unfortunately, we are working on that diligently with our business areas to make sure they get those roles up, but they should be up, I would say, within the next 2 weeks. So please keep a check on our website. You can scan this QR code, you can favorite it, save it. And I'd say just to check that page periodically, maybe twice a week over the next 2 weeks, and the positions will kind of be going up on a rolling basis. It won't be like we'll just upload them all at one time. So I'd say just keep a check on them. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me, but we're working on it, okay? In terms of the interviewing process, that is also a rolling basis, but the way that it goes is you'll have the initial phone interview with the recruiter. That may be me, or it may be another recruiter, another early talent recruiter, and then you'll go into the video interview with the hiring manager, and then the offer, of course, which is probably the part you're really excited about. So we'll do a reference check, a final candidate review, and then the offer and onboarding. So I'll definitely want to share this slide in regards to the Lincoln Financial Scholars Program. You can see that here. So in partnership with LFG, to be considered for a summer 2023 internship, and help prepare you for rewarding careers in insurance and asset management industries. If your application is deemed eligible for the internship and submission to Lincoln Financial as part of the 2023 talent pool, you'll be eligible for a scholarship of up to $5,000. That's amazing. I would love to have $5,000. So you all should definitely take advantage of this. As you'll see here, the program support, program components, the eligibility requirements, and then your amazing UNCF contacts. I'm going to pause here because I hope that you all have some amazing thought-provoking questions for me.
Thank you, Kayla, so much. Such wonderful opportunities to kind of get involved and to be supported by Lincoln. So as we begin to transition to the Q&A, just want to remind our wonderful scholars that if you have any questions, go ahead and put those questions in the chat box so we can go ahead and get those questions answered. But to kick us off, Kayla, you mentioned that majority of the internship positions are going to be hybrid. So with that in mind, how does Lincoln Financial, how do you make interns, how do they get a chance to connect and build a rapport with teammates in a hybrid environment?
Mm-hmm. That's a really great question. So I'd say that something that we try really hard to do is to make sure that all of our interns have a mentor, or some sort of like a buddy system and someone that they can always reach out to if they have questions. I also mentioned, going back to the whole, Lincoln Financial doesn't hire jerks thing, is that like everyone on your team and everyone that you work with will always be accessible to you, so that you can always reach out to them for questions. There are also virtual events that you can attend, in terms of like coffee chats and things of that nature, so that you can get to know the people on your team. As far as the minority interns, something that me and Alicia do is we schedule group calls for all of the minority interns, to have them to get on a call with myself and or Alicia, kind of have conversations about their experiences. So it's really cool because you're able to have, a community within your business area, and then you're able to have a community within like, hey, these are all the other Black and brown interns that I'm working with. And we create that community, myself and Alicia. In addition to that, you'll have a call with us, and then we'll also schedule a supplemental call where we just schedule it, and then we just let the interns talk. And then I just hop off because, I want them to be able to have candid conversations with each other. So I think that that's something really cool. We got a lot of really great feedback from interns that they really enjoyed that, and they got to meet, other interns that look like them that weren't even within their same business line. So I think that that's another way that we, really strive to make sure that you kind of have a sense of community, even if you're not physically going into the office. And keep in mind, lastly, I mentioned that if there is something going on in the office, 9 times out of 10, the business is going to pay for you to be able to go to that. So you won't have to worry about, those types of expenses. So I know there was one intern we had that was living in Baltimore. He went to Morgan State and he was working, I think, in the Radnor office or maybe the Philly office, and they were paying for his train tickets to go back and forth, like if there was a meeting or something like that. So, at least you don't have to stress about that part either. Great question.
Awesome, awesome. And that kind of transitions us into our very next question. So you mentioned a lot about the support that interns receive and the mentorship opportunities. What are some challenges you've seen interns in this role encounter, and how do they overcome them?
That's a good question. I think there are a lot of challenges that interns everywhere deal with, not specific to Lincoln Financial, specifically people of color, right? Because I think there are a lot of expectations about like what professionalism looks like. I think there are certain things about business etiquette, right? Like that they have to learn. So I think that a lot of our interns, or some of our interns rather, kind of struggle with that. I'll give you an example. I mentioned that I had one-on-ones with all the interns and LPPs. So I always let them know like, hey, I'm a Black woman. I'm here for you. If there's something you want to talk about, obviously I can't talk to you about how to code and do software engineering stuff because I know nothing about that, right? But I can talk to you about things that maybe, let's say you don't necessarily feel comfortable, maybe speaking with someone on your team about, or someone that's a supervisor that may not be a person of color. So I had one intern that I met with, and we had a quick chat, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and she emailed me afterwards and she said, Kayla, like, thank you so much for that call. I'd love to schedule a follow-up meeting with you to talk about natural hair. She said, before I met with you, because I don't think she looked like at my picture to see that I was Black, but she said I changed my hair like 2 times before we had that meeting, and I just like I didn't know how I should wear it, and I was just so nervous, and this, that, and the third. And I'm thinking she couldn't have known that I was Black because like I have locks, right? So maybe she didn't look. But anywho, I was like, absolutely, yeah, I'll schedule a 20-minute meeting for us to have a conversation. And, we had a meeting and she was very transparent about just being nervous about that, just going into the corporate world. And again, I don't think that's anything specific to Lincoln Financial. I was very sure to ask her, like, has somebody like made you feel a certain way? And she was like, no, I just like, I talked to my mom and she's kind of old school. And, she said that I need to straighten my hair. And I'm like, oh Lord. So, like it wasn't specific to Lincoln Financial, but I think that the issues that interns face, specifically if it's their first internship, are really internships that all, students of color may face. So I think a lot of them are around business etiquette, what they think professionalism looks like, things with natural hair. I'd also say like building the confidence to like speak up and advocate for themselves and, advocate in meetings. I had, and this was an LPP that I met with a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying like, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, but she was actually in IT, but she was like, I saw a position online for user experience, and when I got hired, I didn't even know we had user experience. Like, this is so new, and like I want to say something, but I'm scared because I don't want to get fired. Like, I don't want them to think that I'm not great for it, that I don't want the job. So I kind of had a conversation with her about like advocating for herself. I was like, you got to lead with gratitude. Let them know like you're enjoying what you're doing and that you're grateful for it, but there's nothing wrong with being interested in something else. And I kind of talked through those examples that I gave you all about how I've talked to so many people who have been in 4 or 5 different jobs in Lincoln and they never left. So Lincoln is not the type of company to stifle your creativity. It's not the type of company that doesn't want to hear what you have to say, doesn't value your opinion and value your growth. So hopefully that answers your question.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, we are out of time, but this is a very insightful conversation and I want to keep it going. So I encourage all of the scholars and all of the students to please stop past the Lincoln Financial booth so we can go ahead and get this conversation going because it's going to be a good one. So Thank you all so much. And as a reminder, take a picture of that QR code so you can get all the information that you need. And we will see you all shortly.
Thank you so much.